Thank you on behalf of parents and children, even in the room tonight and around the world. In your honor, we will establish the Jim Abrams Pediatric Epilepsy Fellowship at UCLA. It is our honor. It is long overdue.
Yeah. Well, thank you. The keto, give me another start. The ketogenic diet was developed at the Mayo Clinic in 1921. In the subsequent decades, it was one of the first therapies used with children who had difficult to control seizures. But in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, new drugs came along, and the ketogenic diet started to fall into, started to disappear. By the time our son Charlie started having severe epilepsy in 1993, it was all but extinct. We took Charlie to the chiefs of pediatric neurology at UCLA, at Los Angeles Children's Hospital, at Boston Children's Hospital, and several others. They were all in agreement about treatment options. There were drugs, and there were conceivable surgery, and that was it. So Charlie went through all of the available drugs at the time. He had a operation that didn't work, and he was still suffering dozens, frequently as many as 100 seizures per day. So one day when we were at UCLA, I stopped by the medical library at UCLA, not really in an effort to find what might be a cure for Charlie. After all, he'd seen some very respectable doctors, well-known doctors. And mostly the mission was just trying to figure out how Charlie and the rest of us were going to get through life given this dismal, bleak prognosis of more seizures, more drugs, and progressive retardation. What I found in the library was kind of astonishing. But there was literally a mountain of published data concerning the ketogenic diet, going all the way back to from the 20s through the 90s. And every single decade, esteemed physicians from esteemed hospitals reported their results on literally thousands of children with difficult to control epilepsy who tried the ketogenic diet. And despite the fact that they were decades and thousands of miles apart, the results, their data was astoundingly consistent. Roughly a third of the children who tried the ketogenic diet had and stayed with the ketogenic diet had their seizures go away. About another third were significantly improved, and for about a third it didn't work. There was actually a study published in 1992 in Epilepsia, the premier epilepsy journal. It was published just a year before Charlie got sick by Johns Hopkins Hospital that chronicled 58 consecutive children with really bad epilepsy and their results with the diet. These are kids with multiple daily seizures, multiple daily medications. Of the 58 consecutive kids that they had put on the diet, 29% became seizure-free, and another 30% were significantly improved. So I called the doctor from Johns Hopkins, and he said we could bring Charlie to try the diet. So Nancy and Charlie and I got on the airplane, flew to Baltimore, and started Charlie on the diet. Within 2 days, 48 hours, he went from having dozens, as I say, sometimes as many as 100 seizures a day to nothing. In 1 month, he's off all his medication. Today, Charlie is a high school senior, happy, healthy, never had another seizure, eats whatever he wants. He went to the prom last Friday night. He's graduating from high school on Thursday. He's been playing piano for 12 years. He does a fierce Michael Jackson impersonation, and still finds time in his busy schedule to remind me virtually on a daily basis that I'm old. So Charlie's here with his beautiful brother and sister, Joseph and Jamie. Charlie, why don't you stand up just for a second? So you ask, how can a therapy that's so successful start to fade away? And especially as you've heard tonight, there's a world epilepsy population of 60 million people, and most of those people start having their seizures as children. Nancy and I started the Charlie Foundation in 1994, both to promote the diet and to try to get to the bottom of that problem. In the intervening 17 years, a lot has been done to dispel the myths that were used to censor this information from my family and so many like ours. In identifying these problems, which include, some of these myths include, it's too difficult, it can be dangerous, the diet, there's no science behind the diet, we're not sure of long-term side effects. One by one, as we've dispelled those myths, the real problem has emerged. The problem is that the ketogenic diet requires a trained dietitian working with the family. It is specific, rigid, and individually calculated for each child. It is time-intensive, and although a dietitian earns a pittance as compared to other procedures, not to mention a lifetime of drugs and seizures, diet therapy does not turn a financial profit for hospitals. In hospitals, whether we want to admit it or not, are businesses just like any other. By isolating the problem, that it is really a financial problem, we've been able to do something about it. Last year at the Care and Cure dinner, a significant amount of money was raised and dedicated to the diet therapy program at UCLA. This year, because of money raised last year, they have gone from just a handful of kids on the diet to starting one child every single week on the ketogenic diet at UCLA, and the age-old statistics have held up. It's been a really marvelous collaboration between Dr. Sankar, the Epilepsy Foundation of Greater Los Angeles, and the Charlie Foundation that has really gotten this program up and running. Recently, we have been in discussion with Dr. Partikian of County USC to start a ketogenic diet program and a dietary therapy program at County USC. Dr. Partikian's estimate is that today he has 300 kids among his patient population who would be good candidates for the ketogenic diet. So money that is raised here tonight, when we convene again next year, there will be kids who are better because of what's gone on tonight. So, you know, I'm very grateful for the recognition, but I'm very grateful, most grateful for all you for being here and participating. Because of your participation tonight, the safest, most effective, least expensive therapy for most kids with difficult to control epilepsy will be implemented here in your community. Thank you.